Hello everyone, my name is Brady Haislet. I'm an application engineer here at 3M, and today we're going to talk through mixing up our base coat along with some color match that goes with that. Now before we get started, you of course want to have the appropriate personal protective equipment for each job. And for this job we'll be painting, so I'll have on safety glasses as well as my paint suit, some gloves, and the appropriate respirator for what I'm spraying. Now this video is intended for professional audiences, such as a body shop or a restoration shop. If you have any questions about safety or warranty, follow the links in the description below. When mixing base coat, of course you'll have to have the right color code. And the color codes are listed on the car. Typically you can find those either in the door jamb, under the hood, or in another location, so pay attention to where that is on the OEM you're working on. But once you have that code, you'll want to go mix up enough for a spray out card by first choosing the variant that you think is close to the color of the car you're working on. Once you've done your spray out card, which I'll talk about that a little bit more later, you'll want to check that, make sure it's a blendable match, and if it's not, you may need to go back and find a new variant in that paint software. Or you can do some tinting, but try to stay within that formula as best you can. And as you mix these up for a spray out card, you still have a minimum amount that you need to mix to. So the paint software will typically tell you, otherwise it's around 4 ounces of material that you'll need to be accurate on that color. So we'll be using our PPS mixing and spray cups today as we mix our base coat. What's nice about that is you are mixing and spraying out of the same cup, which saves you a little bit of paint that you would otherwise lose to the strainer and the mixing cup that you had mixed in separately. And once you start that mixing, one thing that's important is you're working with relatively small percentages of toners. So you want to make sure the mixing stick you're using is not going to absorb those toners, such as something made out of wood. So use a metal or plastic mixing stick to avoid any of those toners being leached into the mixing stick itself. And lastly, you want to make sure that your spray out card is representative of the repair that you're doing. So if you're going to be repairing or doing a spray out on a panel that happens to be metal, you'll want to do a spray out card that's also metal. And pay attention to the G shade of sealer that you're using as well, because you want to make sure that the foundation of your spray out card matches the foundation on the repair so that you get the appropriate color match to what you'll be seeing on the repair. Now PPS does have the mix ratios right on the cup, but we're working with a base coat with really small percentages of each component. So you'll want to make sure you're mixing on a scale that's relatively accurate. Also, as you mix, you want to make sure that you're wiping the walls and bottom of the mixing cup thoroughly so you're seeing a uniform color all the way around the cup. And pay attention to the temperature and humidity where you'll be spraying, because you may have a specific reducer or thinner that you're supposed to be using based on the temperature of the application. So once you've found a formula that gives you that blendable match and you're ready to mix up what you need for the job, one good rule of thumb is to take those labor refinish hours and double it for the amount of ounces to target. Now that's just a rule of thumb, and it could vary depending on the panels you're working with. And if you happen to be a new painter, generally you want to mix a little bit extra because you typically use a little bit more than once you get more experienced. And then also make sure you have some left over, because something can always happen to the car after it leaves the booth. That's all we have for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video in our paint application series. And if you like the content, hit that like button, comment, or subscribe. And for more content like this, follow the links below for the Collision Repair Academy. See you next time.